What's up, guys? You probably seen my video on the QCU, so not this one. You saw my red one, which is this one over here. But something that I've been wanting to try for a little while, which isn't actually offered by Gorilla or by Mac, is getting the brand new, or the latest Pulsar H. So it's not really brand new at this point anymore. But the Pulsar H, the latest iteration of the engine, to fit into one of these QCUs. So you can see here directly on Gorilla's website, the F2 is supported, the Jack is supported, the Inferno is supported, the N7 is supported, and the Pulsar S is currently supported. But the Pulsar S is much shorter. So the H is now their hybrid version, and it's a little bit longer. So for me, the main thing that I'm going to be kind of a little bit worried about is the overall length, because of course it's a little bit longer than an F2. Definitely longer than a Jack and way longer than a Pulsar S. The aim here is to design something, 3D print it, put it together and test it and see if we can actually get it to work. So I'll just take this apart quickly and then I'll kind of just show you what we have to do. So what we need to do is we need to design this back part. So you can see this is the F2. From Pulsar, and this is a slight bit longer. I can take them out.
2,000 years later.
So you can see it's a little bit longer. The solenoid sticks out a little bit more, so we kind of have to keep that in consideration when we are designing it. There's a limited amount of space that's actually going to be available here. Don't forget, this does have some play, so we do have this contact kind of plate with this PCB that can move it in and out a little bit to adjust. But we have a bit of a limitation there because eventually we are going to be knocking on the back of the solenoid. Because not only do we have the solenoid here, we still have to plug in the connector into it. So we're going to lose a little bit more space there.
Maximum effort.
The aim of this is to make something that's complete that will just fit into my second QCU. Well, here we go. This is the very first piece that I designed. I said with the longest because it's the largest of the pieces, the most complex of them. So you can see here we've got the channel. This is where the fitting for the hose is going to fit in. And you can see it will go out the back here. And then we have this kind of little ledge here. This one, this is going to press against the engine, forcing it against the hub unit. And that's going to prevent it from moving. So there'll be absolutely no movement when it's actually in the carbon upper. You can see here we've got our cutout for our nut. And that's going to be for the screw that's going to ride in that channel, that's going to lock it in place. This is the hole here is where you're going to have the spring mechanism, and these ones are just the guides, these two left and right ones. And go to the contact plate. This is the first part of the contact plate. You can see here, let's just orientate that, better orientation. You can see here, this is where the screw that's going to hold the spring is going to be placed, and you can see slight threading here, not too much threading, so it's got a chance of breaking out, so I will have to glue it in. And then here we've got this little channel here and a cutout for the cable, so this is where the little cable is going to go through. This is the top of the contact plate. You can see here we've got channels cut into it, and that's just basically to allow the cable through, and these two little posts are threaded. And you can see this is where the screws are going to screw in. With all three parts, we can just load it into the Bamboo Lab slicer, throw it onto the printer, and get these parts printed up. So you can see my little mad ramblings about the measurements and everything that I needed to actually build this. And I did build a test one already. So this is the one that I used to test everything out. And I know everything works. But here is one that I'm going to put together. I can show to you the complete process of putting it together. Already put in the nut here. That's going to be used to kind of lock it in place in this rail here. So we need that, and let's get this out of the way. We don't need to see mine.
Yeah, boy.
Let's get our parts out. So I've already sorted them out a little bit. So these are the two kind of pieces that we're going to need. This is for the contact plate at the back. Of course, I don't have a PCB. I can't replicate this 1 to 100%, but I have been able to see where the traces go here, and I know how to put it together, and I know how we're going to do it.
A few moments later.
Yeah, so these are kind of the pieces that we need. So we need the spring, because we need to replicate this here. Then we have these 2 screws. These are going to be our guide screws. They're going to be on the side here. They are going to make sure that everything lines up, and they don't actually hold anything. They just make sure that everything is kind of held in place like that. So we need these. Then this one, I've already put a little bit of Loctite on there. Usually there would be a self-locking nut. That's what's on the original one, but I don't have any. And now with the holiday seasons and everything, it's a little bit more difficult. So I've just put a little bit of thread lock on here already and make it a little bit easier to put together. Then we have here our 2 tiny screws. These are going to take the kind of connectors here. They're going to press against the back of the QCU quick air port, and they're going to connect then, giving the solenoid power. This one is to lock in this rail. So same as on the red one, it kind of just locks in there, and it will keep the whole kind of back piece in place, make sure it doesn't move. So we need that. And then finally we have this one. This is just going to be the top screw that's going to fit in like that. And I don't have any hex key ones anymore for this, so I'm just going to use a Phillips screw. So the spring should be, just zero that out, all the shitty calipers. So it's roughly 3.75 millimeters by about 12. So 3.75 by 12, and that's going to fit on quite nicely like that. So let's get it together.
Work time has begun.
So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to put this in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of glue. I'm going to put a tiny bit of super glue here. Just a little bit. Like, it just needs to make sure that once we screw it in, it's going to stay in place. Once it's put together, we're going to have to get the nut on. We don't really want it moving out of place. So what we'll do is we'll just screw this in. So I put a bit of thread here, but the thread is super, super short, so I don't expect it to hold as well. And that is pretty much flush. That's gonna dry just now.
Okay, let's go.
We need this. This is the one that's gonna connect to the solenoid. I've already marked out. I know that this one is gonna be the one that we need for the bottom. So our bottom connector and our top one. And the reason why I've marked them, A, you need to make sure it's the right way around, but B, we also need to now, at this point, cut it a bit shorter. We don't need this piece. This can disappear. This is going to be our bottom, this is going to be our top. We're going to make the top one a bit longer than the bottom one because we have a slight offset, and you'll see here we have a little groove in here, and then this is going to come like that. So we'll make the top one the full length of this. Strip off the cable. I'm going to give it a nice twist. And then the bottom one, I'm actually going to cut it that same distance, a bit shorter. So we're going to remove a little bit of the cable. You can see it's already shorter, and then we can strip the insulation off this one. What I recommend doing first is getting this one through already, because we're not going to be able to get the connector through. Then we're going to put the top one. I've designed and printed in some little grooves there. This is for the cable. You can see it fits in like that, and this one will fit in like that. And then what we can do is we can get our screws in. So we've got these screws. So we get our screws not completely in because we're going to have to thread the little wire around it. And we can just screw it down. And then we can do the bottom one. There we go. So now we have the 2 contact pads that we're going to need, or 2 contact screws. I would like the ones used on the MTW. It's kind of what I've modeled them after. Let's get in our first screw. We need this one here, the top. So just get that one in like that. This is 3D printed, so I'm not going to tighten it too tight yet. And then we can put in our 2 guide screws. So, and there we go, there we have it. And that is now going to fit in. So what we need to do is we are going to put on our spring. There we go. And then we need the nut.
Gay!
That's then going to sit in the back of the QCU like that. And we have a contact plate. Connect our solenoid. We've got a little bit of space here. We need to, very important, don't be stupid if I forgot. Stupid! So I've already cut this because I did test it already and I know that it works. So this is cut to the right length. To tighten it, else it would not work. So let's get that in there. It's fine if the cable moves a bit. So there we go. So that will then line up properly. So let's get this put together. We're going to put it in our red one here, or my red one. You can see. To line up the there we go. So it's inserted now. Let's get our screw in. So that should just slide onto our. So that should just slide onto to the lower. It's lined up.
Nice.
And let's see if we have life. If I did it right, then it's going to work. If not, then, well, back to the drawing board. Very simple to do. Basically, we just needed to, well, I just needed to do a design that would then basically allow us, or allow me, to get the 2 little contact pads at the back to connect with the contact pads of the quick air connector. So did a little bit of designing through Fusion 360, took 1 or 2 test prints to create it. This one is a test piece. So this is a complete one that is completely finished. I will be giving this one away, so if you do want to have this one, you can message me on Instagram. Check out my Instagram, send me a message if you want it. If you have a QCU, but you don't have an F2, or you have one and you're thinking about using the Pulsar H, then just send me a message and I can send you one. So I have 1 spare one. Other than that, I will be putting the files up on Maker World. I will put a link in the video description and you can go check it out. So if you have a 3D printer, you can print the 3 parts that you're going to need. Yeah, and that's basically it. As you've noticed here, you've seen my video on the red QCU. You see here already my gun's got some gold parts on it. I'm waiting on the new lower that's going to be coming soon. But this here is the upgraded parts. So I have the brand new parts already in here and I will be doing a complete video on the small little changes and upgrades that they have done on the new parts. This is the first Pulsar H QCU build in the world, well, custom built, of course. And yeah, I think it's quite cool. I'm going to test it out. Over the chrono, it shot quite well. So I shot about 30, 40 rounds through a brand new engine. I've never ever used this engine. Basically, it's been sitting in my cupboard since Gate sent it to me. So it's a pre-order unit. It's one of the first ones. And I just haven't been able to do anything with it. Well, I haven't found time, to be honest. But yeah, now I've got something in it. And it is now going to be my Pulsar H QCU. And I'm super happy with that. I think this platform's pretty cool. And the fact that it is slightly more modular, because you can use an F2, you can use jack, you can use a Redline N7, and you can use the Pulsar S. And now you can use the Pulsar H. And that's about it. So if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe if you want to see more stuff going on about the QCU or the Article 1. Got some more videos coming there very soon. And other than that, have a good one, and I'll check you guys in the next one.